here, pastry chef at Cal-Am. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be doing a chiffon cake. In the month of March, there's a National Chiffon Day, so I figured nothing better to do chiffon cake. Those of you who aren't familiar with the chiffon cakes are a little lighter. It's not necessarily a sponge cake, but it is in the sponge cake family. It's a little lighter, and it's not as sweet as our American cakes. You'll see a lot of Europeans with sponge cakes, a lot of Asian culture as well. My mom is from the Philippines, and she would get this mango cake, and it's a sponge mango cake. So we're going to do a chiffon lemon cake today. I've got everything already measured up. It's very important to, sorry, I've got a lot going on with ingredients, so let me put this here where I'll be doing the egg whites at. In this mixture, I have my flour, salt, and sugar, and baking soda. I'm sorry, baking powder. Sifted. It's already been sifted. It's here, and I'll add this to my mixture. Okay. Then I've got a baking pan. I put paper on the bottom, but there's no spray in here. Like an angel food cake, you would typically not spray the pan with any fat. I did spray the bottom just to hold the paper, so there's no actual spray on here or on the outside. So chiffon cake, I am doing a half a recipe. Typically you use 2 cups, so you'll see I'm doing a half a recipe. So I'll just use a regular. This is an 8-inch cake pan. Okay, so it's very important that when you're making a cake, sorry, I see something on my whisk that I don't like, so let me get it off here. It's very important when you're making a cake that all your bowl, your tools are all clean and oil-free, and you want to make sure that your eggs are room temperature. Now this morning when I came in, I have to get my eggs to room temperature. I ran it under a little warm water and let it sit under warm water for a little bit to get that. Okay, so I've got 3 eggs. I'm going to separate that. And the way I'm going to do it, and you have to do this very carefully. Actually, let me take this off again. You have to do it very carefully because the process for breaking or separating eggs, there's so many ways to do it. You've seen the water bottle method. You see where people would crack the egg in their hand and hold the yolk. I'm just going to do it the way I know to do it. Don't get me wrong. This morning I had to start over because there was yolk beyond mixed in there. So I'm going to separate my eggs. In my mixing bowl that will go on the mixer, I'm going to put my egg whites in. This bowl where I'm going to mix all my dry ingredients, I'm going to put my egg yolks in. So that's one thing with the sponge cake, chiffon cake. There's also a cake called Genoise cake. They're all made with eggs being separated because we're going to fold the egg whites in, and that's how you get that spongy texture with the chiffon cake. So I'm going to crack my egg, and I don't want to smash it, but it's got a little crack to where I can open it. I can control this without breaking my yolk. Okay, so my yolk is already broken in there, but I did not get any into my bowl, so that's a plus. Okay, there you go. Separate it. Now your yolk can break just from grazing across the sides, the sharp edges of the shell. So just be careful. Yolk. Crack this next one very lightly. Don't push too hard because you don't want to get shells cracked in there. I mean, if you get it in there, you can clearly get them out, but if you just play it safe to begin with, then you don't have to worry about it. So then yolk there. Okay? So we've got 3 egg whites in here, 3 egg yolks in here. So I will attach this to the mixer with the whisk. Okay? And this is how you will get egg whites, your fluff. I won't mix that quite yet because I want to mix in here for you. Again, all of our dry ingredients have been measured and sifted, so that's why it's here. Okay. With your egg yolks, you will mix your oil. Okay. We've got water, which is really weird. Actually, I'll do the water on the end. Let's do the vanilla, and I'm going to hold off. I've got some fresh lemon juice and some lemon zest that I've zested and just put into a portion cup. I'm going to hold off on the end. It will start to have a chemical reaction if I put this in here with these eggs and they haven't been beaten yet. So I will put it there, but not quite yet. Even when I'm making cookie dough, what is it that I use the egg yolks with? I can't remember what it was. Whatever it is, you don't want to put your lemon extract. I was making a lemon cake. You don't want to put your lemon extract in with your egg yolks just yet, because you will see the acidity, and it will start to cook the eggs, and you'll start having curdles. Okay, so in here I've got egg yolks, vanilla, and oil. Mix this up here. Get it all nicely incorporated. Break that yolk down. Now once we're there, I'll add my water in here. I didn't add all of it, I just added half of it first. Okay, still add more water before so I've got all my water that calls for this in here. Now I will add my lemon zest and lemon juice. Okay. If you don't believe me, try it. Put your egg yolks and your lemon juice together and watch it start to curdle. So, in here, again, yolk, water, oil, vanilla, lemon juice, zest. Okay? In here is just the egg yolks. I'm going to turn it on low, get it frothy, then I will add cream of tartar and just a little bit more sugar in there, okay? So let's get this on. Once it's got the look, you'll notice the froth. Once it starts to get frothy is when we'll add in our sugar and our cream of tartar, okay? If you add it in too early, you will not get the peaks that you're looking for on an egg white. So that's why we want to get it nice and frothy before we add in this stuff, okay? While that is mixing, actually I'm about to get to my froth. So let me open this up. You see how frothy and bubbly that is down in there? So that's when I want to take my cream of tartar here. Dust that in there. That will help stabilize it. And then just more sugar, a little more sugar. Okay. Now I'm going to turn that on, and then I'm going to add my dry into this here. Typically you add your wet into your dry. I didn't find any problem with it. So I'm going to add this in here. I'm going to do this maybe in 2 batches. Just mixing. Add up a little more. Actually, I'm going to do this in 3 batches of flour, the dry. Make sure you want to get all the flour off your edges. You've got a hand mixer, you're more than welcome to use a hand mixer as well. I can just mix it by hand. Then you add your rest of your dry, again, which is just your flour, salt, sugar, sifted. Okay. The egg whites are almost to where I want them. You don't want to overbeat them. You overbeat them, they'll start to If you overwork them, you'll start to lose liquid out of them. So sometimes if you're making meringue or you make a meringue pie and you notice the condensation's coming out of it, it might just be overbeaten, okay? Let that go a little more. So here we have our egg yolk mixture with flour, the sugar, salt, your vanilla, your lemon. It's almost where we want it. I'm going to turn it up to its highest. Once you get this nice and mixed, everything should be pretty much broken down. Because you sifted that flour, you shouldn't get a whole lot of lumps or whatnot. It's all been sifted, okay? So this is at its thick consistency that you want it. Try not to bang on your bowl. If you're using metal against metal, you got your egg whites on the table. Try not to bang your bowl against that. Your egg whites will fall. It's crazy how it works. So I try to get as much as possible off of there. Okay, but it will cause your egg whites to fall. Okay, so here we got our nice stiff peaks. Look at the white color on it, how it holds its peak. And now you'll probably think, how are you going to get it off here without banging it? I'm literally not going to bang this against the bowl because your peaks will start to fall. Okay, so just get out what you can, and you'll have to sometimes just call some things a loss. So that little bit in there, I can't get it out unless I want to bang it. I don't want to. So I got my nice fluffy egg whites in here. This is what makes this cake a sponge. In this case, we're doing a chiffon, but it's always the separation of eggs. Whipping your egg whites and folding it into your mixture. So I'm going to fold this in two different parts, okay? Get half of my mixture here. I'm going to go around the sides, and I'm literally going to be just folding this in, okay? You don't want to lose your fluffiness of your egg whites. I'm folding it in. I'm using the edges of my spatula to clean the bowl, and I'm coming from up under the mixture over the egg whites, and I'm just folding it in, okay? It's not all folded in just yet, but and then we'll come over here, clean the rest of the egg whites out of here. Now, when I made this half recipe earlier today, you know, it's trial and error. It was so much batter that I was afraid to put it into one pan. So I put it into two, and I should have just kept it into one, like the recipe says, because it's not as thick as I would have wanted it to be. So, but that's all right. Got that cleaned out, and I'm going to fold in these whites. Okay, that is going to make your cake fluffy and airy and chewy. I like chiffon cakes. I don't know if anyone has heard of the H Mart down here on Main Street. If you're in Mesa, there's a H Mart. It's a Korean market, but in that Korean market is it's called Paris Baguette, which is a French bakery inside of this little Korean mart. And you go in there, and they've got all kinds of desserts. They have a blueberry chiffon cake, which was delicious. Yes, I did get it. Yes, I did eat it. It was delicious. But it just goes to show how versatile these recipes. One foundation of a recipe can go so many different ways. Okay, so we're almost there. I can visibly see that there's still some egg whites that haven't been whipped in yet. It's okay. Or I'm folded in. We're not whipping it. We're folding it. It's not that song. You gotta whip it. No, we gotta fold it. We gotta fold it. Okay. So once we get our mixture fluffy, it's folded in. Again, I already have my pan with my paper on the bottom. Now, if you want to put paper along the sides, you're more than welcome to do so. I just have it on the bottom. I can go around the edges with a knife for the cake to come out. It always just makes it a little easier when there's paper on the bottom. Okay. So put all this batter. Do you see why I was a little nervous? I was a little nervous this morning when I tried it. And I split the batter. But again, I should not have. So you'll see the results. So we'll take this. I've got my oven set at 325 and put this in the oven on the bottom shelf for about 45 to 55 minutes, and we'll have a nice sponge cake. In our case, we like I said, I split it up, so I have a finished product with a sponge cake here. Again, it's not as thick because I put it onto two different pans. This one and then another smaller one, so I couldn't even stack them. It wouldn't look that great. We're going to make a easy peasy lemon glaze to go over this. Now, you're more than welcome to make a buttercream. You feel it froggy, but we're just going to make a lemon glaze. There's nothing better to me than a lemon glaze. Fresh lemon juice, powdered sugar. Okay. That a little of this goes a long way. Okay, again, this was from a lemon that I squeezed earlier. I'm going to use a little lemon juice. And I'm also going to use, because that lemon can be really, really tart, I'll use just a little bit of water. This will be our glaze on this little chiffon guy here. If you want to sift your powdered sugar for this instance, you can do that too. Otherwise, you'll just be mixing a little bit more, like I'm having to mix and break down those little bubbles, little sugar balls. Do a little more lemon juice because I feel like I need to have a little more glaze and a little more powdered sugar. Okay. This cake here, it's so nice for any really occasion. For the spring especially, Easter will be coming up here soon. We just never know how things are going to turn out. So much going on this past year. But this would be a nice Easter cake. If you have oranges, if you've got one of those orange trees, you can use orange zest and orange juice and make an orange chiffon. If you have a lime tree, you can use lime zest and lime juice and make a lime chiffon. So it doesn't have to be just lemon. It's just once you get that foundation, that base foundation, you are good to go. Okay. So, got my little icing here. Just a simple icing. If you've ever eaten at Rave's Cafe, you might have had this lemon donut. It's just a cake donut, and I make this little glaze, and it's something nice. So I'm going to just dump this on top of here. I'll swirl it around a little bit, let it drip down its sides, and really just let it fall where it falls. There's really not a right or wrong way with glazing or using this kind of glaze. I like to make sure I get it all around the edges, or to the edge, to where it sort of drips down the sides a little bit. Then you let that cake set I'm really excited for the holiday this season, for just to get out. Well, really not get out, really just stay home, but to eat and just really have an old-fashioned kind of holiday. But my grandma would make a lemon pound cake with this very same glaze. So definitely not a chiffon cake, but a pound cake. And she would make it the night before, and she would leave it on the counter overnight. That way this glaze will harden. This glaze will harden. It will protect your cake, keep it moist. And this glaze is unbreakable. We really can't mess this up. So here we have just an easy lemon chiffon cake. You want to decorate it with some fresh lemon zest or fresh lemon wedge. But please understand that the guys over at the other side are waiting for this little lemon chiffon cake. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I hope to see you guys all in person soon.